This is the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast.
Welcome into episode 40 of the Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast.
Woo!
Woo!
Woo! Number 40. That's a big number, Court.
That's 10 times 4. That's another number times another
4
number.
times 10.
4 times 10. There you go.
Yeah, it is now time for our podcast to enter into its midlife crisis.
It's 8 times 5. We can count. Okay. Anyways, so to celebrate 40 long episodes, some of them longer than others, like the 7-hour podcast. 40 long episodes. We're having 2 giveaways this week.
But
right?
first, how about we introduce ourselves?
Well, they should like have our names memorized in their heads by voices. Like it should instantly click and they should see us, you know? Like Miles, when he did his little bitty woo, they should be like, that's totally Miles. Yep, that's Miles.
Right.
But anyway, so yes, I am Courtney Osborne. Woo, yeah, good stuff. And I'm joined by Lou.
Hi, everyone.
And Miles.
Hey, everybody.
So yeah, we are doing a giveaway. So now you want to find out how, right? Yeah. So you don't have to skip ahead and try to find it and then not listen to the rest of the podcast like happened that one time. Yeah, that was funny. It was like we literally posted the podcast and 10 minutes later, people were already signing up for the giveaway, even though it was like hidden 48 minutes into the podcast. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? Gold diggers. So,
Free stuff,
But now we condone gold digging, so go ahead.
Yeah, do it.
Starting it off early.
Starting it off early. We'll give it to you right up front. And then stay tuned as well after the giveaway and everything, because we have about a 40-minute long interview with 2 fellas from Housemarque.
Oh my god, it was awesome.
Yeah. I seem to remember somebody named Lou saying that I was going to be in the interview with him on this, and then that didn't happen. He didn't even tell me it happened until after it happened.
You get all the same emails, and if you want to wake up at 7 in the morning, or 6:30 for you...
I had no idea it was happening, douche.
You're probably still drunk.
I probably
Anyway.
was. Okay, so the 2 giveaways. One is for Valiant Hearts and a MONG t-shirt, and one is for Shovel Knight and a MONG t-shirt. So, you want to do yours first?
Yeah, absolutely. As we noted before, and I'm sure a lot of new people are listening to this for it, we have the Housemarque interview later on. This is for our new segment, Better Known Indie, which we're going to try and make a weekly thing. Housemarque is this week, but next week reviewing Yacht Club games with Shovel Knight. And of course, we need questions. You're burning to ask them, and we are very, very open to suggestions because we're not creative.
I hope they're not burning.
Okay. Anyway, so if you can send us a question by any possible means, any reasonable possible means, we don't accept pigeons, but if you can send it to us by Twitter, send it to our email, send it or attach it to a Facebook comment on anywhere that we're posting the podcast or comment on YouTube, you're going to be entered into this sweepstakes where I'm going to be giving out a Wii U copy of Shovel Knight. This also comes, of course, with our MONG t-shirt, so you can wear it around and advertise us. I mean, so you can wear it around and show off your
awesome
favorite
swag.
Yeah.
Mallmanship.
But yeah, it's cool. We'll be posting what the t-shirt looks like on the site, and Shovel Knight is absolutely fantastic. If you haven't had time to go and look at my review on middleofnowheregaming.com, please go and do so. I think it's the game of the year, while Courtney just sits in a corner and scoffs at me.
He's right. Hold on a second. Let's see. What was it? I believe you called it Steam Night.
I did call it Steam Night towards the end.
Yeah. I had a buddy point that out to me, and then I also saw the comment, and I was like, oh man.
But it went through 3 or 4 different editors on our team before anyone found that. So, That's on everybody, not just me.
Actually, that's on you. You posted it before you had us edit it.
Oh,
No, you cannot put that
fired.
blame on the rest of the team on the podcast. That's bullshit.
It was found like 2 hours later, so everyone had a time to look at it.
Yeah. Anyways, so again, submit a question anywhere, mong.podcast@gmail.com or on Facebook or Twitter, for the interview with what was their name again?
What's my name or their name?
No, their name.
Yacht Club Games.
Yacht Club Games. Okay.
And, if you're looking for, you could ask us any question, of course. But if you're looking for something to start off with, maybe something about Shovel Knight, something about Kickstarter, something about working closely with Nintendo as an indie studio, all those are great ideas. And, of course, we have our sign off later where we give you all the details on how to contact us. We'll also most likely have them published somewhere in the post.
As for our other giveaway, it is for Valiant Hearts. It's for a download code on any platform, which we will be purchasing through GameStop. So that's how we'll get the actual code. I assume that's US only. I don't know if that's. I'm not sure. Is that does that go for other countries or not?
I don't know, but we could try our best.
Yeah, we could try our best, but it's probably gonna have to be US only anyways, because we're also shipping out a MONG T-shirt to that too. And I'm not sure if we can do international shipping. But,
I mean, we can. It's just expensive.
Yeah, and we're not going to go expensive way. But
unless
anyways,
it's Dennis.
Unless it's Dennis. Yeah.
Dennis, you should absolutely apply because we will try and send you one if you win.
Well, I think the website we use does international shipping anyways, because I think Steven bought one. Remember?
Oh, really?
Because I think Steven bought one a few months ago. But
make a custom for him so he doesn't get beat up in the streets.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't say Mong. But anyway, so the other one is for Valiant Hearts. If you want it on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PS3, Xbox 360, or PC, I believe are the 5 consoles you can get it on. We want you to go to our Facebook page. There's a Rafflecopter giveaway, and you have until. Did you mention how long they had?
Oh no, I'm gonna be doing the interview for Shovel Knight on the 9th, so you have any time before that to get me a question. So
until next Wednesday morning or Tuesday night or whatever.
Yeah, the 8th, late on the 8th.
And so the same goes for this one. You have until next Tuesday night or Wednesday morning to go to our Rafflecopter giveaway for this. And what it requires you to do is you have 4 options, which will boost your chances of winning. It'll boost your entries. You have to like us on Facebook. You have to follow us on Twitter. Or you don't have to do. But if you do all 4, you get better chance or whatever. And then you
they
can
have
also,
to.
You have to do all of this. You can also give us a positive review on iTunes. And the last one, I believe, was comment something about why you heart Mong on one of our posts somewhere. So and it has ways to verify you actually did that. So just make sure you do all of those, and you'll have 4 easy entries into getting Valiant Hearts and a Mong T-shirt. Whoever does win these giveaways, obviously you can only win one. You can't win them both. But whoever does win these, we will contact you immediately when you do. We'll give you your code, and we'll request your address, your shipping address and stuff like that, so that we can send you the Mong T-shirt, and we'll request your size and all that stuff. So that'll all be handled post giveaway as soon as it's over. So be sure and share this with all of your friends. We obviously that'll make your chances go down, but we want to get everybody in on this. We don't want to have 2 people competing, but I really do look forward to starting to send out shirts, because that's kind of a thing. We want to have giveaways more often, maybe once every 5 or so episodes or something like that. And we're going to try to just start sending out T-shirts if that ends up being an easy process and a cool thing to do. If it ends up being a pain in the ass, then we won't. But
right.
I hope it's easy.
And if you get a T-shirt, send a picture of yourself in it. And we'll like it. And
we can make a Facebook section on our page or something with all the people wearing Mong T-shirts.
Friends of Mong.
Fans.
Exactly. It'd be really fun. I think it'd be something cool to do. But anyways, so the giveaways, we got all that stuff handled. We're not going to do a typical episode because we do have that Housemarque interview. So next We're going to answer our one question we got submitted this week that I thought would be fun to answer, even though I haven't read it yet.
Also, folks, please send us some more questions. We
Yes.
need more questions.
mong.podcast@gmail.com. Any questions for the podcast so that we can answer every week. Typically, we'll answer way more than one. But anyways, the one question this week from Jake. He said, or his email reads, "Mong!" exclamation mark.
Mong?
Mong? I read the article about how Sony plans to continue supporting the PlayStation 3. Does this mean they're going to be releasing PlayStation 3 exclusives, or we're going to see more PS4 games like Watch Dogs that'll be dumbed down so it will run better on PlayStation 3? What are your thoughts? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
So obviously you guys will probably have your own opinion on it.
Okay.
My opinion is that Sony isn't one of the companies who wants to do cross-generational games. As you could tell with Infamous Second Son being a PlayStation 4 exclusive game. Sony's the type of company. Obviously, some of the smaller games like Entwined could be across different consoles and stuff like that. But I think that their bigger games, they're going to make them specifically for one console or another. Maybe when they say they plan to support PlayStation 3, they're talking about their littler studios making games for PlayStation 3. This is a lot like them saying they're still going to support Vita. They're not going to give up on their consoles because they still have so many people who buy games for that stuff. Freedom Wars is going to be a Vita exclusive game. It's not going to be on PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4. So they will have first parties or even second parties who will develop a game for PlayStation 3 and then who will develop a game for Vita and PlayStation 4. Now, you're probably not going to see Sucker Punch or Naughty Dog make any more PlayStation 3 games. That's not going to happen. They're only going to be PlayStation 4 exclusive games. But you may see the smaller studios start to do that more. And you also see it. You will see the cross-generational thing with people like Media Molecule. The next Little Big Planet's going to be both PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. So every once in a while, if there's a game that can fit that format, they're going to do it, but most of their big games are going to be PlayStation 4 only.
Right. For me, I think that it's a lot to do with what the developer wants to do, what they're looking forward to doing. In the case of what we just saw, we saw the jump from PS3 to PS4, past gen to current gen. We saw a lot of these different studios like just learning to grasp how to use the PS4. They might not have known how to use it to the full potential, and there was some sort of parity between the two, that they could make PS4 games that acted very similar to PS3 games. They could make Watch Dogs and Wolfenstein for both systems. I think as they learn to grow with the system, they're not going to be dumbing the games down. Developers don't want to do that. They're artists in themselves, and they want to make the best game they could possibly make. And of course, there's limitations with what the people with the money want. But I think that there's, of course, always going to be the games that can be on every system. But we're not going to see developers dumbing the games down. We're just going to see dumb games versus, for a lack of better words, versus what are going to be just current gen only games.
I honestly think it'll be like a little smattering of both. I mean, I'll just keep it simple and say that because I'm sure there, like you all have said, there are some companies that will want to develop for both systems. There's some that might be, have gotten complacent, I guess, with the PS3, and they know that they can make something amazing on PS3. And I don't see a reason why that, they'll just completely cut off exclusives for the system. I don't think there's going to be a lot more, but there will probably be some still, flowing out,
right.
Just like how the PS2 had games still come. Well, of course, this isn't the exact same situation, but how the PS2 still had games coming out like in 2012, I believe.
Yeah, it did.
So
for a long ass time, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
like there were some bad sports games, like just like I think it was like Tim Crickett's cricket game that no one knows how to play, 2012. But regardless, the console still had titles coming out, so I don't think it's going to stop.
Yeah. So I think that pretty much sounds like we're all in agreement that it's, they're not going to just be dumbed down ones. There will be some, obviously, but there's just going to be a mixture of everything. There's going to be good big games and the good small games and stuff like that. But anyway, so that is our one question this week. So thank you, Jake. Thank you for remembering us, sending in your
awesome,
question.
Man.
Let's go to the video game releases this week, and then we'll wrap up and get into the interview. How about that?
Sounds good.
I feel like this is a sad week.
It's not a sad week. It's late in the night, and I'm tired as balls, and I'm trying to...
Oh, and the interview is killer.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard it yet, but I asked a lot of tough questions of them, and I got a lot of non-answers, but it was definitely fun and fun to listen to, and they told us what their favorite custom ships are. And
I thought they were really personable. They were really fun to talk. Like listening to their answers to your questions. That was, I don't know. I feel like they answered more than I thought they would. It's right. More of what I think than non-answers. They gave a lot of good answers.
For instance, I asked them the burning question everyone else has been wanting to ask: How does the developer make money from PlayStation Plus? And of course, they can't answer that. It's something.
But they gave you a better answer than I've heard on any podcast so far about it.
Absolutely, they gave me a very solid answer and one that I was happy with. And while they were still kind of dodging the question, partly because they had to, partly because they don't know the contract. They're, of course, the community managers and people on the dev team, so they don't see the money side of things as much as the people who are in charge. But but I had a great time with them, and it's really insightful to talk with devs about this kind of stuff, and I can't wait to do it with Yacht Club and talk about Kickstarter, because I have a ton of questions about that.
So anyways, on PlayStation this week, we've got Sniper Elite, Dynasty Warriors, Gundam Reborn, and Call of Duty Ghost Invasion DLC, which came out on Xbox consoles last month. On PlayStation 4, you have Sniper Elite and Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition and Call of Duty Ghost Invasion DLC. And then on PlayStation Vita, you finally get Child of Light.
If you've been waiting.
Excellent game. Everybody's got to play that.
Definitely.
Maybe.
Now, getting into the Xbox side of things, Xbox 360, you're looking at Sniper Elite 3 on Tuesday, Far Cry compilation on Tuesday as well, Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition on Wednesday. For Xbox One, you're looking at Sniper Elite 3 on Tuesday again, and Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition on Wednesday. And good God, this list.
Don't read all the days on this one.
Okay.
There's too many.
Cool. So there's a lot of titles. So like you just heard, I'm just going to be saying the names. Just look for them on your own. Don't be lazy.
Go to the story.
What?
They can go to our story.
Oh, yeah, go to the story. That's a good way to find out when these games are coming out. Anyway, first off, Divinity, Original Sin, Pixel Boy, Magicians and Looters, not Loaders, Infinity Runner, Astro Lords, Ort Cloud, Deadbreed, my bad, The House, Ship Simulator, Maritime Search and Rescue, Sunless Sea, Onigiri, Over 9,000 Zombies, The Red Solstice, Shattered Planet, and Call of Duty Ghosts Invasion DLC.
Nice. Going to the Nintendo side of things, we have a very, very busy week. On the 3DS, we have absolutely nothing. And on the Wii U, as of today, which is July 1st, there's Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition, which I can't wait to play. Somehow I've managed to let that just slip through my fingers. And everyone loves Guacamelee.
I know, so, they all do, and for some reason I've never been interested in it. I don't know why.
I've got one curiosity. What makes it Super Turbo Championship Edition?
It's a better way to say Game of the Year edition.
Ah, okay.
I think it includes DLC or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it includes I'm not sure all the features, but I'm sure that it includes DLC and this and that. And they're actually another studio that I'm going to be interviewing soon.
So, okay, let's get into that interview. Here's our normal wrap up. You can hear the podcast every Wednesday. You can find us on iTunes, or you can find it on YouTube, or you can find it on the website. We always ask you to email us, mong.podcast@gmail.com. Any questions or comments, anything you want us to talk about on the podcast, anything like that. You can find us on Twitter and on Facebook. Just search Mong Podcast or Middle of Nowhere Gaming or anything like that. And then we're on everything now. We're on Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. Go ahead and search all of that. And if you're listening to us elsewhere and not on the actual website, make sure to check out the website, middleofnowheregaming.com, for all of our latest editorials, news, reviews, and all of that good stuff. And again, be sure to sign up for the giveaways that we mentioned at the beginning. We look forward to having a whole bunch of entries, getting a bunch of good questions for the interview next week, and then some new stuff for our Valiant Hearts, like a new likes and new follows and all that good stuff. We want to send out stuff, so sign up for all that good stuff.
Get your free stuff.
We want to give you the swag.
The swag. Anyways, you can find us all on Twitter. You can find me at Osborne_2009. You can find Lou at
Lou Cantaldi.
And you can find Miles at
Furious Milk.
I love that every week. I do. Okay, so here goes Lou's interview with Housemarque.
Enjoy it.
Woo! Woo! Mong!
Woo! Monk.
Mong.
Welcome into our newest segment, Better Known Indie, brought to you by Middle of Nowhere Gaming Podcast. I'm your Nintendo ninja, Lou Cantaldi, and I'm here with the good people of Housemarque, responsible for such hits as Resogun, Super Stardust, Dead Nation, and every other game that has had you hooked like an addiction. How about you guys introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Tommaso De Benetti. I work as a community manager at Housemarque. And on my side, I have this gentleman here.
Yeah, my name is Michael, and I do all the PR, business, a lot of that stuff that's not really developing the game itself, but I do play a lot. So, there you go.
Awesome. What's on your playlist lately?
Lately, a lot of Demolition from the Resogun Heroes. I've actually been playing that like a maniac, even after the launch, because, we get to play the games prior to launch for some particular reason.
We never get to play like the release version before it's actually released. We've been playing 1,000 different versions, and because we iterate very frequently on the modes, so it's kind of liberating for us as well to try the game in its final form, so we can finally put our score on the leaderboards as well.
But other than actually our games, I've been playing a lot of Rogue Legacy, Dark Souls 2 I haven't been playing that much of now, FTL on iPad, and I just downloaded Shovel Knight, so I really want to play.
Man. Shovel Knight's fantastic, by the way. I've been spending a lot of time with that.
That's a good game. I heard that's a good game. I've been playing some Metro Last Light this morning. I'm trying to finish GTA 5. I tried on PS4 this new Ubisoft game called Valiant Hearts. Super beautiful.
Okay.
And of course I'm trying to get back in Resogun, so I do not make a fool of myself on the leaderboards. Yeah.
You'd be placed somewhere near me in like the million score, or.
Well, I haven't been playing officially for a while. I've been playing just the builds that we have internally, and of course, working for a gaming studio doesn't mean that you play games all day, and I'm sure there's people out there that have been playing Resogun much more than us, actually, yes. So.
Right. Okay, so just for an introduction, as I said, this was our newest segment, Better Known Indie, where we take topical developers, for instance, Housemarque, you guys have just released the big DLC and update for Resogun, and ask them some of the burning questions you, the listeners, have. You guys ready to start?
Definitely.
All right, so I hate to begin with the prying question, but everyone's been asking me. Specifically, Ryan Lattuzo and Derek Kluntzman. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing names. But how the hell does PS Plus make money? Does Housemarque see any profit from it?
Well, we're in a special kind of a relationship with Sony, and of course, we couldn't run a studio with pure losses. But the gist of it, as far as I can go into it, is that of course Sony is having PS Plus as this sort of exclusive club of titles and things they want to bring to the PlayStation players out there, and also sort of a point of differentiation from all the competition. So it's an investment to them in itself to have players be interested in PlayStation product lines. But then again, of course there are specifics that we cannot talk about too much, but there's, contract basis, you get X amount of money and X amount of so on. But we're sort of a second party developer with Sony, so
yeah, you have to remember that Resogun was actually founded by Sony, so it does make sense that for them
that's funded with FUND, not founded.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, Resogun is a game created by Housemarque through and through. But the IP, and all these things, we're what they call a Sony exclusive title. So basically, everything we make under that umbrella is basically more or less, Sony property, and therefore they can use it in these very special PS Plus type promotions. So it's a very, very special deal, and we're really glad that we could get our hands on such a contract.
Also, I think it's important to underline that a game like Resogun, it doesn't belong to the most popular genre, I would say, and being on the forefront of PS Plus at the PS4 launch gave us the possibility to be in the houses of many more gamers, people that maybe wouldn't have picked up Resogun if it wasn't for PS Plus. And at this point, and that now we have this new expansion out, Heroes, it's a huge advantage because we have already, I cannot go into numbers, but many players have Resogun installed. And now they're looking at the expansion saying, hey, these guys gave the game for free, air quotes. And now there's new stuff out, maybe we can support them. So you have to think also that way.
Right, I could tell, at least by the gaming communities that I'm in, that everyone has so much goodwill towards Housemarque and towards Resogun that they're dying to buy the game. So I'm really happy for you guys there. While I guess you guys can't give us a straight answer against PlayStation Plus, could you tell us how successful it was, or in general terms, how successful Resogun was?
We've been pleased, to say the least. No, I think that there's no other alternative proposition on Earth that could match the amount of happiness we've enjoyed due to this relationship. It's a fairly good arrangement, and I think that it's a win-win situation. Hopefully, at some point. Well, I mean, if you go on the leaderboards, you can see how many names are on the leaderboards. I think they're capped at something. But
yeah, they're capped at something. You can see the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of players playing Resogun, and we know that at launch it was definitely one of the played games on the platform. Yeah. Now, we actually don't have the new statistics now that the expansion has been released. It's too early, but I can imagine there would be a peak there. So,
right. Okay. Going off in the same vein, Kyle Parlane asked, how easy is Sony to work with as an independent developing studio?
Well, as previously mentioned, we are independent, but we do enjoy from certain benefits that not all so-called third-party independent developers they actually have to work with a different crowd of people, which are awesome also. But we work with Sony XDev, which is a Sony internal studio. So that's the kind of a partner that third-party indies don't get to work with, and they're really hands-on. They do a lot of QA testing. They do a lot of kind of market research, and they have these things that it's more or less a an XDev product as much of it as it's a Housemarque product. So they really invest a lot of time and money into making it,
And it shows. It does. It's a fantastic game that has still been keeping most people hooked. Sorry.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's a different kind of a setup than with most indies. We're really glad to be in that relationship, but it's you can't really compare. It's a bit like, if I could think of some kind of analogy here to describe it. It's like, a lot of cool guys get to work with White House, but we get to work with Barack Obama.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Throwing an American reference for me.
It's the same establishment, but, a different guy.
Right. For the record, everyone, this is a Skype phone call, and the time difference is how many hours? Do you know?
7. I think 7 hours.
East Coast 7, of course, 10 to you're on the East Coast, right?
Right. So it's about 3 p.m. for them and 8:20 for me. So sorry if I sound groggy during any of this.
It's all good. We're groggy from way different reasons.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to some questions about Housemarque in general. There are a lot of different inspirations to your games. You have golf, you have Resogun, you have Dead Nation. Where Stephen Barton asked specifically, where do you get the inspiration for your games?
This is a difficult question in a way that there's so much prototyping going on here, so many games that we are thinking about and they never happen. It's very hard to pinpoint a couple of places where we take inspirations. Like, people have a lot of ideas. We have like more than 50 employees right now. And they play different kind of games. They like different kind of games, but they all try to make games that fit with the basic values of Housemarque. So I don't know if we can just point at one or two.
I can sum it up.
Yeah. Okay.
But first, I'd like to say that we do have these. Make your own game weeks, or what was it called? Pet project.
Okay.
So we do get to have this time off, kind of like Google. They have that 1 hour of own project time. We try to have at least once a year where we have a week off, so we can make our own projects. First of all, present those ideas to the team, so you can form a team with your co-workers, and then do something for a week, and then show that prototype or whatever you had made for the rest of the team. So we do have this kind of, where people can show off their own projects too. But to sum up, where I feel that the Housemarque essence comes from is arcade. Essentially, we're looking at all kinds of classic games and even modern games for influence. But a lot of the stuff we do does stem from really the pure arcade experience.
But then again, even the more games we look, they have this arcade feel in a way that I know it's inside here the studio. We have a huge subgroup that is a fan of Dark Souls or the Souls games, and in a way the Souls game brought back that sense of peril that you had with early arcade games, where you needed to be very good or you would die. And in a way, that's a modern game with a bit of an arcade feel in some regards. And it's really popular here at the office, and everybody's very excited about Bloodborne now. So.
Yeah, and if you look at, like, in the beginning, we mentioned Shovel Knight, which has been heralded as not just the kind of rebirth of retro gaming, where you got pixel graphics, etc., but they really understood the essence of what those games in that era were, what made those games popular, or what made them so good. And I think that's what we're looking at too. We're really looking at the gameplay, the design, really the essential components that we feel are the soul of gaming itself. So I think if you want to sum that up into one word, arcade would be it. But there's so much more to add on to that.
Right. So it's not just taking a dartboard and throwing a dart and seeing what sticks.
No. Well.
Right.
That might be no. We work a lot on an iteration basis. So even if we do take hey, let's make a game with a little bit of Super Mario and a little bit of Metroid and a little bit of any other Nintendo game we can think of. And then we just mash it up, and then we throw a dart somewhere and see what
I
sticks.
also think there's another aspect. We have a really kick-ass tech team, if I can say, and sometimes they come up with some algorithm or something that creates a great visual effect, and then around that we start to think, okay, this would be great in this kind of game, and can we do something with that, or can we put this effect somewhere else? And then, well, I think Resogun, for example, stems from the creation of this voxel technology.
Yeah.
So first there was the technology, and then the game came.
Okay. Well, that is all great. We're gonna move on to Mike Fagundes' question. He says, "Are there any incoming PS4 or PS Vita titles in the works? Would you mind sharing them with us?"
Yeah. There's a PS4 title in the works, and thanks for letting us share the information.
You can't drop as a hint. You could say like one word: zombies, Wild West. I don't know.
I can say one word: PS4. It's 2 letters and a number, but yeah.
Any idea when we'll end up seeing that?
We'll do an official introduction, hopefully sooner than later, but there's honestly any kind of schedule I can give out on that. I can say that it's a really cool game, and we've been working on it for a while, and it's something I think the fans will appreciate. But other than that, it's one of those things that when the time comes around, we'll let you know, and you probably will notice.
Well, I think it's been public information somewhere that this is technically the biggest game we've been working on. So that maybe is an information.
That's the only tidbit, meaning that we have expanded. Like Tommaso said, we're 50 plus now. We are still working on more Resogun content. We have a mobile game in development, and then we're working on this PS4 project, which is the largest of the current projects. I think that's about the. You already got every information tidbit out of us that you could.
Right. And I mean, the PS4 is doing gangbusters right now and selling like hotcakes. However, the PS Vita is not necessarily slow selling, but you don't have anything that you can say that would be in the works for that?
No, I mean, there might be, but then again, like, for example, when we did Dead Nation, the Vita version, it was by our friends at Climax. They ported it, so any and all project of that kind, we don't even have full information on, nor we could share anything like that.
Okay.
But talking about the Vita, I think the Vita has hit its stride in the sense that it is now the kind of hand console that it was sort of meant to be. I play a lot of Spelunky on it now, and I play a lot.
Yeah, to be honest, for indie games, this is just fantastic. I like it. I have all the portable consoles you can imagine, and usually I take it around with me. I especially like the suspend function. Because, well, you can just play really 5 minutes and save your state, so to say, and just go and do whatever. If you are on a train, if you have to get off, you can just play a little, and it's fantastic. And in a sense, other portable consoles don't do that.
Right. Okay,
yeah, very unique, and I think it's doing. I mean, sales I'm not sure of, but it's doing much better than it was.
Well, no, to be honest, like, I don't think its vocation was a big console-like games, because if I want a big console-like games, I would just play at home. And I think what it is doing now, it's much better. For how I play, I like it better now.
Right, and that's just some of the questions we have were focused on that. I mean, so many people are pining over your games. They think they'd be perfect on the Vita, like if we saw Resogun on the Vita or Outland on the Vita, but there's so much technical stuff behind that, I can imagine where it'd be difficult to port it.
I think that at the moment our problem is just we are too small to develop for every possible platform. So taking into account that the Resogun IP doesn't belong to us, it belongs to Sony, never say never. But we can work only a certain finite number of projects per time. And at the moment, we're working on PS4, and then we have a mobile title, but it's not on Vita. So that's what we can say.
All right, let's shift into Resogun. Phil Lesiak, sorry again if I'm mispronouncing any names, asks, do you have any future plans for Resogun that you wouldn't mind giving us a sneak peek into? You said that there's going to be more updates or DLC patches on the way. Can you give us a small detail about what we might see? Especially because the last update was so big and so encompassing that I personally can't see what else you could throw in there. It's already such a great deal.
Whose question was this, Steve?
This is
Steve?
Phil.
Sorry. I could actually, to all the people who've been asking questions, we could turn this around and ask you guys, what would you guys like to see? This is kind of going back into how our game creation process goes. We try out a lot of fun things, and if we find something that's fun, then we try to make it even more fun, and then we iterate some more, and then hopefully we have something we can put into expansion like Heroes. Of course, having local co-op, having the shipbuilder, those are the kind of things that are really different, and we probably exhausted some of those limits. If we wanted to do like a full-on level editor, for example, that would the ship editor itself was quite a big of a job, so I don't know how much we could stress and how many years it would take us to make something like that. Maybe we'll make something like that, who knows? But then again, we do take a lot of the fan feedback into consideration. We love to follow what people are talking about it. For example, now with demolition mode, I've been playing it like an insane monkey, just not being able to go home in the afternoons, but that just means that it clicked with me. And some people like survival better now. So we're really looking into, how people play it, and finding a lot of things from there. And then, but in essence, all we're doing is we're looking for really fun ways to fiddle around and different ways to play the game. So I think that's why we even have Demolition now, is that we tried out fun things and something clicked.
Yeah, but to be just a bit more to the point, I think you can expect, the people that bought the Season Pass can expect another expansion that is as big as Heroes in size, more or less. And in between Heroes and the next expansion, we haven't settled for the name, so I can't even call it anything at the moment. It's just the next expansion. There will be some little extras that we will give out on specific days, I think. So we're not allowed to detail those yet, but and they're not going to be as big as the expansion, but there are going to be some nice little extras that people hopefully will want to show off.
Very small bonus content type stuff. Plus the soundtrack is supposed to be.
Yeah, the soundtrack is coming.
Awesome.
It wasn't available immediately, but Sony is trying to figure out what's the best way to distribute it. But as soon as they make a decision, everyone who bought the Season Pass will be able to download it.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. You said you guys are taking suggestions from people. Do you keep your eyes on Twitter and on the Facebook page, or how do you do that?
Yeah. Well, Twitter, we've been really active on Twitter now. Also on Facebook, our forums. Yeah,
our forum is the best place if you have a really detailed feedback, because of course on Twitter, you can send 1,140 characters messages, or you can come to the forum and write a long post. I think that's the best option, probably.
And I mean, I keep talking about Demolition sort of as a Resogun meets Arkanoid type of a mode. Right. And if you come on the forum boards and you write in, I'd like to see Resogun meets Paperboy, or Resogun meets, X games listed, like 10 different games listed there, we might not take that into high consideration. But then again, if you have some really cool ideas that impresses us, of course we'll be like, well, damn, that sounds like something we could try. So we're not explicitly reading the boards and the messages for something that we could use in the game, but we really do appreciate the customer feedback, because people are investing, like Tommaso said, maybe sometimes more time into this than we are, and we're doing this for a job. So, we really appreciate people putting their their time into it. So, yeah, we're always on the lookout, and some people have really, really in-depth ideas.
Feedback. But like sometimes they come up with some cool ideas. For example, just yesterday, one guy suggested, "Hey, why don't you make now a human editor so you can make your own human?" And that's a great idea, except that they don't take into account that for every different human that you make, you need to make a specific set of animations so it actually looks nice when it's in motion.
And sounds too.
And sounds, etc. And that kind of thing is not something you pull off very easily for an editor. So we might keep 3 of the 10 guys that are working on Resogun busy on that for 2 months, and then maybe it doesn't turn out as we expected. So every suggestion has to be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But sometimes some ideas are good and some feedback is valuable. So if we can, we try to use it.
Okay, awesome. Speaking of the DLC, for those who are getting the season pass, how often should we expect the DLC to roll out? Are we talking about something more like The Walking Dead or something like Borderlands?
No, I mean, like as I mentioned before, the size of the updates is not gonna be that you're gonna get something.
But how often?
How often? Like for the season pass, I'm sure. Well, you're gonna get the second expansion officially in the terms of the season pass. In the terms of the season pass, it was written that you will get it before June 2015.
Okay.
But we really hope to make it way before that. I think that was something written by the legal department just to make sure.
Yeah,
but
that's technically a season.
Yeah. So
no, it's going to be before that. But I mean, honestly, it took us a while to create this, and to be frank, if we would have had it out any time earlier, it wouldn't have been the same, experience. So.
At the beginning, we were looking at this to take the heroes to take 3 months. It took almost 6. So a lot of work went into it. Also because you have to remember, it wasn't only heroes; it was also the free patch with the local co-op and ship edit. That took a lot of iteration.
Plus all the balancing and small tweaks and leaderboard stuff, and so I mean, we see it as something that here's the must list and here's the cool stuff we want to bring, and then you add all that up, and then it, at some point, it's 2017, and
Right.
But when it comes to the small stuff that will come in between the 2 expansions, I think you're gonna see maybe something little new each month or something like that. That would be ideal. I'm not sure if that's what we are actually able to pull off. It doesn't depend completely on us as well. It depends also a bit on the publisher. What do they want, if they need a specific date or something. So it's not that we just press a button and it happens.
Right. Okay. Speaking back to the ship editor, there are some awesome things that have come out. I'm not sure if you guys have been watching the boards and watching what's been popular, but there are some crazy things that people have made. Do you guys have any favorites or a favorite?
Well, I've been trying to retweet the best ones. I just retweeted something that the official Ghostbuster account tweeted.
Yeah, Slimer.
They made a Slimer, or someone made a Slimer.
The ship is called Slimer Space Caught ! And it's made by Panda Musk, and he's a cool artist guy, and he's actually made one of my favorites, which is Calvin and Hobbes.
I saw that. I downloaded that yesterday.
Yeah, so there's some really inspirational stuff out there, and honestly, to see players kind of take that to themselves and then start creating, it's one of the most wonderful feelings you can have. They're really embracing a platform that you created, and that's I think you can't really compare that feeling.
Yeah, I think they're going beyond our expectations. Like I just saw the other day, somebody made Moonwalker Michael Jackson, and he's shooting from his finger, or somebody made Louis C.K. shit. So really crazy stuff. Well, I think we didn't expect fans to go this far. Yeah.
I mean, of course we could dream, but our dreams did not match what we got.
I tried doing the same thing. We made the logo for our gaming podcast and website, and we got maybe like a like or two, but what can you expect?
Yeah. But then again, I'm not really an artist myself. And I know anything I'd create would probably be lost in the abyss of, millions and millions of, or however many we have.
Well, I think it's more thousands at the moment, but several thousands. Last time I checked, it was around 25,000, so I don't know how much it is now.
Exactly.
Right. One of our editors, Dustin Leroux, who wishes he could be here, you're one of his favorite studios, asks, did you learn anything during the development of Resogun that you'll take forward with you to the next game?
We can always learn something. I would say that every game is useful in its own way.
Well, I can talk in pure kind of development perspective here that we're learning a lot from the downloadable space. We're learning a lot from network type stuff. We're learning a lot from online multiplayer type things. Also, just from having this PS Plus promotion visibility, and now having a DLC that's actually, to most people, the first paid for content, considering that the game was free for so many players, that we're learning a lot from the perspective of how this kind of a game and the rolling out of said game works. And I think it's a very unique setup, so we're taking, all the information we can from there. And hopefully we can use that, because even if you go to like a game developers conference and you listen to a lot of people talk about, oh, this is the best way to monetize, or this is like the future of gaming, or free to play or whatever, there's a lot of these concepts that are thrown out, and then you take what you can from your peers and from the community and hands-on experience. Once you've done it, there's nothing you can really compare that to.
Of course, you might lose some money in the process, but that's a part of the risk. I would say that one thing that is really interesting for a game that needs so much balancing as Resogun, we realized that, Resogun was a launch game, so in a way we had to wrap it up just before the PS4 launch. If it was possible, we would have developed it for a bit longer, but it had to make it for launch. So we realized that we have two guys that are testing our games in-house, and they're playing the games 8 hours a day. And still, like the first day Resogun was out, it was played by so many people that in that first day they probably tested the game 10 times more than the guys that are resident testers here.
Much more.
So I mean, like, it's just a matter of man hours, right? When you give the game to 500,000 people and they all play 1 hour, it's obvious that they're in just the first day they play more than the testers in house. And then you realize that it's very hard to catch all the possible glitches and stuff. And what we saw online with the videos helped us making a patch and fixing some things. But
yeah, that's what we're all about here, is that we learn from our testers pre-launch, and then from the public being able to play it, and then when we balance the game, we really have to take into consideration that this is a game that is really a lot affected by even small tweaks. If you can compare, let's say, a game like Alan Wake, which is a story-heavy game, to Street Fighter, any edition. If you balance anything in Street Fighter, you're going to have a lot more people talking about it than if you balance anything in a story-driven game.
Yeah, kind of Wake, yeah.
So that's also something that we're learning, is that kind of the longevity. I don't know how to pronounce that, but the game goes on and people play it, and then when you change something, you really have to be careful about what you change.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a bunch of people up in arms. I was reading the PlayStation blog about wiping the leaderboards.
To be honest, like the wiping the leaderboards wasn't the problem. Like we really had the little negative feedback for that because like somebody knows how to play, they can make that score back again very very quickly. I think most of the critics came from how we tuned the weapons, and well, we did it for some very specific reasons, namely the editor of the ships. Otherwise, that would be imbalanced. But of course, some people don't like it because now they have to play in a different way. So, well, we're reading that feedback and trying to learn something from it.
And the editor was kind of a sideline. The point was that, like you mentioned, for launch, we had to have a balance that worked, which we had. And then further on, we felt like the balance that we wanted for the final game was something that's a bit different. Then we tweaked those things. And whenever you have a really dedicated user base that's already used to certain nuances of a gameplay, and then you change them, it's going to feel a bit out of place. And I think that's where a lot of the critics came from. I'm from a very good place, and I have to say that myself, I was one of those critics too. But then again, that's the way. And these are the things that we learn, and it's not that we haven't been careful coming to this thing, but it's still. We take it very seriously, and we know that the Resogun players take it very seriously. So it's one of those things that you really, really have to know how wide that tightrope you're walking is.
Right. Now, one last question about Resogun. What's up with the name? How'd you get that name? It's kind of very unique.
Do you guys like the name? I mean,
it's catchy. It really stuck with most people.
Yeah, so
that was the project name. Actually, for some time, Sony wanted to go with something else. I'm glad that we're sticking with Resogun because I like it very much.
Did we have any real alternatives? I mean, did we?
Yeah, I don't know if I can name it because they might be using it later.
Oh, okay. So we can't go.
But there was at least one alternative on the table. Yeah.
I can say for sure that at some point we weren't going to go for Super Stardust on a sphere. That was not. That was not. I mean, not on a sphere. I mean, a cylinder anyway. But yeah, it stems from really far back. We were looking at the technology, the voxels, and this kind of a cubic world, looking at alternative ways of using retro type graphics, but modern technology. And I think the Reso comes from that. So there's
it had to do with resolution because this 3D voxels look like 3D pixels.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
So resolution, Reso, that comes from there.
And then Ghana because everything explodes.
Everything you shoot at stuff. So that being the project name for this particular project. And then, if something sticks internally and people like it, then, why go change it?
Very often, like the project name is not the final name of the game. For example, Outland had another name previously. The project name, I don't know if I can say it. Probably I can say it. It was called Kingdom, and then it was decided to go with Outland. So sometimes it changes, sometimes it doesn't. To be honest, I'm glad.
Usually they change. I'm not sure in the industry what the proportion of projects names that launch with the project name are like. How many do that? I think Resogun is in a minority if we look at all games ever made.
I can imagine that when they are making a new Mario, they just call it the new Mario.
What was the original name of Mario? Mario was like Jumpman. Yeah. So they didn't go with Jumpman. I think Jumpman's freaking awesome, but
I think he'll make a resurgence. He'll be like an evil villain in one of these future games.
Yeah, maybe he's going to be a hidden Smash Brothers character, Jumpman, with this. It's going to be another Wario clone.
All right,
yeah.
Anyway, we're running late on this. I wanted to keep it to 20 to 25 minutes, and we're running well into 30. So let's wrap it up. Just two more comments, which we don't have to answer. Kyle David says, "Dear Housemarque, why don't you make bad games? Love, Kyle." And Brendan Hanks says, Housemarque is one of my favorite studios. They simply make amazing game after amazing game. Just high five the shit out of them.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome stuff. To Kyle, I'd like to say that I'm sorry that we can't maybe work to your standards of making bad games, but then again, you never know. We're still human. We're just a bunch of guys in an office making what we love. So there's a very large human factor involved.
Okay. Well, thank you again, both of you, for being on our first segment of Better Known Indie. We're going to try and do this as a weekly podcast, depending on what studios are available. Next week, we're going to be interviewing Yacht Club Games with Shovel Knight. And
well, hello. Say hi from Housemarque. We love your stuff.
Oh,
actually, I can't because I just downloaded the game, but next week I had played the shit out of that game, so you should really say hi.
You can send a question, maybe.
I can send a question to Yacht Club Games.
Yeah.
Well, I'll send one over the official network.
Okay, absolutely. And, of course, anyone who wants to send us questions can do so by email at mong.podcast@gmail.com. You could also find us at our Mong Twitter account, at Mong Podcast. You could find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Mong Podcast, where you can find all the Let's Plays, all of our podcasts, and all those other fun features. And, of course, we have a Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram. Additionally, check out our website, middleofnowheregaming.com, for our latest editorials, news, and reviews. While we're here, of course, go out and get the Heroes DLC. It's $4.99, I believe, right?
Season Pass is $7.99.
Oh,
DLC
go get that. Yeah.
Itself is $4.99.
And of course, well, the game is still on sale. So if your friends don't have Resogun, please.
I think it's $10 on sale.
Try to convince them to join you for co-op. Now we have also local co-op.
And also, I'd like to plug our social channels. So we're on the PlayStation Network, and no, for real. So we're on Instagram and Twitter at Housemarque, Facebook Housemarque something.
Well, you can find on Facebook. You can find us at Resogun or Housemarque if you care about just the studio. And on Twitter, we just have Housemarque. So if you follow us there, we're quite active.
On Instagram too. We have just
Instagram. I'm not aware of what he's doing it. So
Dude,
I have no clue of what's going on Instagram, but you can try to follow us.
It's
there.
mostly selfies that I take when I'm at conventions and so on.
All right,
but they're really high quality selfies. I have a new front-facing camera for that.
You want some Housemarque selfies?
But anyway, we're here and we actually do read your feedback. And if you have some really serious comments, the forums would be the place to go to.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for the interview.
Oh, thank you for coming along. So once again, if you are one of the crazy people who have a PS4 but don't have Resogun, go and buy it today, and make sure to grab the season pass. You can find me personally at Luke and Taldi on Twitter. Thank you, and thanks again for being on.
Thank you. Bye.
We'll be here. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Mong.